Hello folks, welcome to another video. And yeah, so tonight is also a little bit cooler, so figure I'll be out, make a weekend video. Yes, I'm smoking Diesel Uncut. It is a Toro size cigar, so it's a little bit bigger than I would normally smoke, but I happen to grab these in this particular size, so not too bad, dog. All right, I'll let you out. Yeah, the puppy was out here barking up a storm because there's I guess some people who have their dogs outside, which is okay. And they're barking, so she's barking at them. You know, and it is later in the evening. Of course, she's clawing at the door. Nice smooth draw for a cigar of this size. So whoever rolled this cigar, they properly rolled it. And yes, and I had to do some humidor maintenance, which is add distilled water to my beads. Now, would I try going back to propylene glycol? I would, but for the price that they're asking, you know, the distilled water is still way cheaper than the $10 to $15, you know, in some case $20 per bottle. Or again, you can get a gallon of distilled water for like $1. So hopefully everybody's doing good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your smokes, especially you folks. And of course, with the Supreme Court ruling with West Virginia versus the EPA, the FDA may have their, you know, the you vape guys, you know, your juice may have been saved from that ruling. Basically, it's saying that the alphabet community cannot make laws. They cannot make legislation. They can only interpret. They can only use the law that Congress has passed, and the law that's in the Constitution and the laws that Congress has passed. They can't make up their own laws and rules. Looking at you, ATF, EPA. Yeah, this is the strong cigar, so I'll probably end up smoking it halfway down and then put the cigar down, put it into the garden, you know, mash it up, let it go back into the earth. And yes, even cigars, after I'll leave it in the garden for like a week to dry in the sun so it's nice and crispy. Then I'll get my little hand hoe, what would you call it? And you know, smash it up really good and mash it into the garden. And yes, the cigar aroma. It's like a mix of ashtray. It's like a mix of ash, you know, cigar ash, cigarette ash smell with a cigar leaf. So in the news, I guess there was this was in Georgia, I'll call him a patriot veteran. So his house. It wasn't his house. I guess they were trying to steal his BMW from his driveway. He hears some noise, sees some people mulling around his driveway, the people that don't belong there. So he decides to come up with his AR-15. And it looks like he's got the one with the 20-round magazine. I would suggest you get a 30-round magazine with a speed loader. It helps because when you get you know, when you get to like the 19-20 round and you got 10 more rounds to go, your hand start, your thumb or your hand starts to hurt. And the speed loader helps get that last round. You know, some people are like, well, you know, load 19 round, leave that 20 round to save your spring. Or for a 30 round magazine, they'll say, you know, load 28. 29, leave that last round out to save your spring. The thing is that I've had mine loaded all the way with 20 and with 30. Hey, let me open the door for the dog. Let me pause the video. Alright, and I'm back. No barking, little puppy. Who are those dogs off in the distance? In a neighbor's backyard, they stopped barking. Maybe the owners came out, had their dogs stop barking. And yes, the little dog, she thinks she's a big dog. She's tough. That's how these little dogs, they bark about 30, 50 pounds over their weight. Yeah, so he comes out, he sees the intruders in his driveway. It is Georgia, that they have a castle doctrine that includes your yard. Hey, no barking. I'm gonna put you back inside the house. Quiet. Shush. Alright, let me. Okay, had to, I guess, put the dogs back in the house, close the dog door. Yeah, I guess that dog that's barking off in the distance is still barking. Yes, it's someone's dog. Yeah, so he comes out, he sees these intruders, about 3 of them. And yes, these intruders, they'll come to your house, 3, 4, 5 deep. It ain't gonna be one guy. And they're all armed with guns. Handguns or whatever they can get their hands on. Because it is, they're all illegal. Yeah, so it ain't gonna be 3, 4, 5 guys who are barehanded. A few of them, if not all of them, are gonna be armed with guns. So you going out there with your cell phones, lefties, use your cell phone, call the police. So my story, this happened years, probably about 15 years ago. Yes, yeah, and this is back when I had a truck that had nice, expensive rims on it. So, it's a weekend, and I was tired. It's like 2 in the morning. So I was, sleeping. Wife decided to stay up to watch TV. And I told the story before, I'll tell it again. So she comes in going, hey, look, I see about, about 4 or 5 people that's, meddling around your truck. And I had it wasn't like these communities where, the houses are all scrunched in together and, they got like the 15-foot driveway. This house that I was in had a really long 20-30-foot driveway. So it wasn't like these 5 guys were walking down the street, and there was this mowing in front of the driveway. They were up in the driveway. So I get up. So at the time, I only had my handgun, my Glock, and my Ruger 40 with a, both of them had 10 rounds. But I'm not going to be doing the Hollywood style, two handguns in each hand. And yes, each held 10 rounds. So I grabbed my phone, grabbed the Glock. I look out the window of the front. I wasn't, we're looking, we're talking, I saw 3 dudes. So, maybe my wife, embellished, but anyways. So I was like, all right, I ain't going out there because, because if they they're going to be armed too. This vet, he went out there with, an AR-15 20-round magazine, which is, he outgunned, actually he equalized the firepower because there's 3 of them, and who knows, all 3 of them are probably armed with guns. So that AR-15 equalized his firepower with those thugs that were messing with his BMW. In my case, going out there with my handgun, and with those 3 thugs, looking to steal the wheels off of my truck, the firepower is not equalized. And yeah, in handguns, of course, when you're at the range, you're taking aim, and you're shooting, and I can, up to about 10 to 15 yards, I can put a pretty small 3-inch grouping. But your heart's racing, your adrenaline's racing, you're scared, And from the front door to the driveway, it was a good 20-25 yards. So lobbing bullets back and forth at each other is spray and pray. And with the handgun at that range, if you're not taking aim carefully, aiming and shooting, you're not really going to hit anything. You might get lucky and actually get one of the perps. Yeah, so in his case, he drove them away, and yes, the Second Amendment, allows us Americans to purchase rifles and handguns, at least rifles and handguns. And yes, 95% of shootings are committed with handguns. The 5%, there's a small, I think the percentage is even higher than that. But from what I read, they put out about 95% of the shootings are done by handguns. But yet the lefty gun grabbers are going after the AR-15. Of course, the AR-15 is a rifle. It's going to be more powerful. More rounds, and it is a tyrannical deterrent. And that's why the lefties are going trying to grab the AR-15. Let me see here. Yeah, the camera has a front. Let me stop the video here and reset. Okay, and I'm back. Yeah. So the camera I'm using is the action camera, but it's got a small little screen in the front, which I use to look at the time and how much battery it shows. It shows time, how long the video's going, how many minutes I got left, battery, the settings. What the heck is? Yeah. Okay, I need to shut this off and reset it again. For some reason it's set to 2K by 30, which I don't want. So hold on, let me stop this again. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yes, back in 1080p by 60. Yeah, the 2K, it's not even worth it. If you're gonna shoot, go ahead and just bump it up to 4K. And yeah, and the weird thing is that the smoke's just billowing around my head. Is that on my Samsung phone, it has a 6K and a 10K video setting. I think it's 9K. And I tried doing a test video shoot. I could play it on my phone, but when I upload it to the computer, I used the Microsoft video viewer, and it couldn't view the video. So I haven't tried it in a while to see if I can do a 6K or 8K or 9K video. I don't even know if YouTube even supports it. I know YouTube supports 4K by 60 because a lot of guys are uploading their videos, the 4K by 60. So yeah, so these guys, these thugs, when they come to your house to rob you, rob your car, rob your house, they're going to come 3, 4, 5 deep, and they're going to come armed. And even in places like the UK, I remember years back, I think it was 4 or 5 years back, there was a story of a 78-year-old man. So these thugs kick in their door. The guy defends himself with a screwdriver, and he stabs one of the thugs in the neck, and he was put on trial for over defending himself. Because he stabbed the guy in the neck, it was considered over defending. Even though there's 2 other dudes, so you got a 78-year-old man who's fighting off three young guys who's probably 1/3 his age, or maybe a quarter his age. They're teenagers. He's defending his house. He's defending his wife. And I believe in that one he was sentenced to a lighter sentence. It wasn't the, there you go. They wanted, no you don't, little dog. Yeah, she's clawing at the door. It wasn't the attempted murder charge that that the DA was going to go after. I think it was, I guess in UK that they got some sort of a defending yourself too much charge. Just like in Australia, any place, Canada too. And even here in the US, if you live in a blue city or a blue state, the case of the Hispanic man who was assaulted by two people, you know, who owned a bodega, or actually a how did Joe Biden pronounced it? A bogada. Yeah, people watch me and say, what the hell is a bogada? Oh, she means a bodega. And he had a knife. He stabbed, and I think he killed the guy, but he stabbed the guy in the neck a couple of times. Same thing with that 78-year-old man in the UK that stabbed the intruder in the neck with the screwdriver. I think the perp passed away, but yeah, he was being attacked by two people. His the guy's girlfriend was stabbing him through the little counter window, where the guy came around and jumped on the owner, the bodega owner. You know, yeah, he was stabbed in the shoulder by the guy's girlfriend while he was wrestling with the perp. And yeah, the dude was stabbed in the neck. If you look at the videos, about maybe 2 or 3 times, and he got him in the jugular. And even if you, well, actually, if he was on an operating room table, and the surgeon accidentally cuts that, yes, you might get saved. But in any other situation, if that vein or that neck thing, you know, gets cut on either side, you know, that's it. It's lights out, literally. Yeah. So I guess as it turns out, the story of the 10-year-old girl, I guess, is true. I guess the abortionist, the murder doctor that they went to. I don't know if it was in Indiana or in Ohio. I'm going to assume Indiana since that's the story. So as it turns out, that doctor put down that the assailant was a 17-year-old, so the doctor is covering up for the rapist. And that doctor is trying to sue Ohio. He's going to lose. He or she, whatever they are, they're going to lose. Yeah, so it turns out the guy is a 27-year-old illegal. But of course the lefties, they won't concentrate on that. You know, they're actually trying to run cover for the guy. But they're actually cheering that the story is actually true. I'm like, okay, man, you know, yeah, the cigar's going on pretty evenly. And yeah, so that kind of blows our mind, and of course the Democrats are trying to push through their abortion bill. So the Senate is hearing some I guess this whole week, you know, people who pro-abortion, pro-life people, they're going up to the Senate and they're giving their their testimony. And there was some you guys are probably seen it, some I guess Berkeley law professor, you know, she decides to chime in. I'm like, what the heck? She says, you sure she's a law professor? You know, the lady's got like metal all in her face. I can understand if it's a teenage girl, you know, she's rebellious, you know, she wants to be cool, but this is a grown-ass woman, you know, with metal all in her face. A professor, a law professor of all things. So I don't know if she was teaching at the Berkeley Law School or if she was teaching undergrads, but either way, it's a grown-ass woman who's teaching our future attorneys coming out of California, of course. And yeah, I'm not going to go through the back and forth between her and Senator Hawley, but yeah, she, you know, if you go and look at the Twitter, video, yeah, it's about it's about 1/3, you know, pro her, and 2/3 of people going, lady, you got owned, you know, for like a week. The Democrats, we know what a lady is. No, men cannot get pregnant. It only lasted about a week. So they're like, okay, we're going back to our old, we don't know what a woman is. Men can get pregnant. Drink some water. Yeah, I'm puffing the smoke away from me because there's at least no wind out here, but it's still a lot cooler than other nights. Yeah, and I'm hoping you guys are enjoying, the cigar smoking, because yeah, like I said, my video is like one of the few, I think the only one where you smoked, where I smoked the cigar all the way through, with no interruptions, no time passage. It's just me out here chilling, and taste wise, this one, it's leafy. Guys mentioned earthy, but I've only had like a few cigars that had that earthy taste. It's not really a smell, it's like a taste. And leafy, leafy, you're always going to get the leafy. With like the Maduros, you'll get nutty, you'll get definitely coffee. With the mild cigar, like this one, this is a mild cigar. You might get the nutty. I don't really get any coffee. There's really no bitterness in this, but I get the leafy, the nutty, no earthiness, and it is all natural. There's no chemicals added. No extra like cigarettes. There's no extra chemicals, no extra addictive chemicals added, as if nicotine's not addictive enough. But the thing is that I don't have a cigar craving. Now some guys do. There are guys who smoke. They call it the breakfast cigar, lunch cigar, and mainly these are retired dudes too. So they got the time to smoke a breakfast cigar, a lunch and a dinner cigar, and an after dinner cigar. 3, 4, 5 cigars a day. That would knock me out, man. For me, it's like an after dinner cigar. 1 or 2 a week. See what else. So we got that. Let's see. Oh yes, Biden is in Saudi Arabia begging for oil, and yes, they're clowning. The Saudis are clowning him while he's over there. Of course, he stopped by Israel, and the Israelis came out with their Biden go home. So, and no, they didn't do that with Trump, but they did it with Biden. Biden go home. There was it's probably a good 30, probably about 30 people who were out with signs. Biden go home. So it wasn't a whole lot of folks, but they were still out. Yeah. So I guess the it's reached even Israel that Biden is a scumbag. Yes, and he called Saudi Arabia a pariah. He called them a pariah, so now he's over there, begging the pariahs for oil. So I guess to the lefties, oil from places like Iran, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Russia. Yes, U.S. is still getting Russian oil. I guess their oils are green energy. Iranian, Saudi Arabia oil or is considered green energy. I guess their oil don't pollute. So yeah, so if you see, I mentioned in the other video that the here in Dallas it was $3.90, and I went to go fill up again, and it's back up to $3.98. The thing is that we've been tapping into the oil reserve since 2-3 months ago when Biden said he's going to tap into the oil reserve. And from what analysts were saying is that if we continue tapping into our reserve, it's going to be gone, in about 18 months. So if you think about it, it's kind of like let's say you lost your job, so you got no income coming in, which a lot of people can relate to. So now you're tapping into your savings. And eventually, if you don't find another job or some other income, to come in, and you keep tapping into your savings, you're going to run out of money. It's the same thing. We're not drilling. We're not bringing in. Bringing in any of our own oil. We're going to places like Saudi Arabia. Begging for oil, and we're not bringing in our own oil. We're tapping into our reserves, and just like your savings, eventually it's going to be gone. And they're doing it on purpose. Biden, there's 2 videos is out there where Biden says that he will shut down the oil industry, and he's doing just that. And of course, his double talk. No, I never said I was going to shut down the oil industry. And and in his Israeli speech, he did the same thing, where he turns off, and he's trying to shake hand with the ghost, the ghost of Israel, the ghost of all the people that are dead in that area. Keep myself hydrated. Yes, and keeping yourself hydrated does help with the nicotine kick from the cigar. Yeah, I don't know how the older guys, sit through a Churchill, cigar where they don't spit, drink, or anything. I guess they've become immune, to the kick. Yeah, so he's in Saudi Arabia, and they purposely let a reporter ask him, hey, Mr. Biden, do you still think Saudi Arabia is a pariah? And you can see on the table the Saudi guys, the prince, and his ministers. They're all grinning, and it's weird. The motion sensor light just kicked in, and and these motion sensor lights, they'll do that if the wind, the wind's not even blowing. If the wind's blowing too hard, it'll trip the sensor. Yeah, the wind itself will trip the sensor. Oh, you're saying ghost. And yes, the summer months for us Asians is our ghost season. Our Halloween is during the summer month, where we give offering. I think it's this month or next one. Where we give offerings to our ancestors, to any wandering spirits. So if you see one of your Asian neighbors spreading these I guess you can call it our version of the jack-o'-lantern. Well, the jack-o'-lantern is meant to scare off. But if you see your Asian neighbor spreading candies and food, it's like little dinky offerings. So it's not like a big old plate. It's like a little dinky offerings. And and animals normally. So I'll normally put out stuff that animals will eat. That way it doesn't rot or go to waste. And so if you see them putting these little offerings around the yard, that's what we're doing. We're giving offerings to spirits. Yes, and the monks will spend all evening, all night, doing their chanting, to open the astral plane, between the dead and the living, to let the dead come and feast. And then when morning comes, they'll do their prayer to let the spirits know it's time to go back. And yes, in Buddhism, we don't support abortions either. So if you're thinking of going over to Asia to get your abortion done, it's going to be a back alley abortion. I remember there was a few years back where it was one of the big temples in Bangkok, and I guess they were allowing ladies or people to I guess leave their abortions there, but they weren't, because abortion's illegal in Thailand, but they weren't notifying the police. And yes, in Buddhism, you can keep the ashes of your dead relatives at the yeah, don't bugs. Just like Christianity, in the old days, churches were next to cemeteries. Yes, and some old churches are still next to cemetery, but a lot of times, I guess like the Methodist, Baptist, and stuff like that. I guess Catholic churches are still close to or next to cemeteries. But yes, but you can keep in a shrine or a family shrine. You can keep it at the temple. And so this temple were keeping illegally, since they weren't notifying, and these were illegal abortions, and it was hundreds of aborted fetuses that they were keeping at the temple. And I guess someone either a police officer saw it, or someone notified the authorities, and they raided the temple. I think the head monk or something was put on trial, and I'm not sure if he went to jail. But yeah, but the head monk was hauled into court. And yes, only in the United States. Only in the United States in 1973, the United States was officially the only country that where the federal government allowed abortion on demand. No other country at that time allowed it. And 50 years later, countries in Central and South America started to allow up to 14 weeks. Same thing over in Europe. I think it was the Netherlands and Spain that allowed, I think a year or two ago, where they allowed I think it was last year, where they allowed abortion up to 14 weeks. Alright, so I'll end it on this. So it looks like I did some more reading up on oil, and if you use Google, these articles won't come up. These were articles going back to the late 90s. It was CNN, Reuters. They had articles that said, hey, oil, we'll never run out of oil because the earth keeps producing oil. There's one article by Discovery magazine, where they're saying that, hey, there's oil in the ground is so plentiful that we're never going to run out. And I forgot that. And there was one article that I did read where it mentioned that that the oil is not fossil fuel. It is actually a combination of natural chemicals mixed together under high pressure that creates oil. Let's see here. Drink some water. So yeah, so you're gonna have to use some other search engine if you want to look into it. And of course, 20 years, it actually took 10 years for CNN, Reuters, and all of them to change their mind. Oh well, you shouldn't use oil because it's a finite resource. Well, same thing with, now reiterate, same thing with renewables. Renewables are not a finite resource either. We don't have the resources to keep making solar panels, because they have to be replaced every 10 to 15 years. We don't have the resources to keep making wind turbines. Same with batteries. We don't have the resources to keep making batteries. And and just like recycling, a small portion right now, 5% of the rechargeable batteries are being recycled. Because one, again, just like regular recycling, battery recycling is too darn expensive. It's caustic. It's expensive. The companies or the guys who are trying to recycle battery, they're making their money off of the government funding. So if they were to just make money straight off the recycling, they would go out of business without government funding. So no, there is no one source of energy that's going to cure all. I don't think we're ever going to get fusion energy. There is no such thing as the perpetual motion machine. you know, there isn't this machine that you click a button, the machine goes and it keeps going. Yeah, and the difference between gas engine and electric car, EV cars, the thing with EV is that you have to understand everything that moves, that lights up in your EV car uses the battery. Your headlights, your dash light, dome lights, radio, charging your phone, all eats up. AC and heater all eats into your battery. So that's why, you know, Tesla with the 300 miles per charge, you're actually getting about 200 miles per charge, because you're eating up, you know, especially during the summertime. You know, if you're one of those folks who's blasting your AC in your Tesla, you're probably getting less than 200 miles per charge. No, little puppy, you're not coming out, you're barking. Yeah, she's still clawing at the door. Yeah, so gas engines like highway. Electric cars don't like highway. You know, they like stop and go traffic, because on a regular gas car, the alternator is what charges the battery. And of course, the batteries are like this one little 20-pound battery. That's it. So an alternator can actually recharge it. To where on an electric car, it's the four brakes. So when you brake in an electric car, you're actually recharging the battery. I don't know how much it's recharging, but it's not enough to, you know, to completely recharge the battery, but it gives you a little bit back, to where, you know, it'll give you maybe an extra 5 miles to 10 miles if you're in stop and go traffic, especially, you know, morning rush hour traffic where you're stop and going all the time. That's when an electric car would actually come in. Yeah, so that's it. Enjoy your smoke. Yeah, this Diesel Uncut is a good cigar. They say it is a mild cigar. And enjoy your cigarette, your weed where it's legal. Your vape, you can still get the juice. Yeah, and I think with that, you know, Supreme Court ruling, you vape guys, you guys are probably safe from the FDA. And that's it. Thanks for watching.